y'all. So we're gonna do NXT In Your House predictions, but we're also gonna do some NXT notes because there's a lot of stuff been going on in NXT for a while now. So I'm gonna get my thoughts about some of the performers, things that's been going on, and then I'm gonna get into the predictions and what I think is gonna happen coming out of the show. It's gonna be a big piece of business we're about to do here. So first, Drake Maverick had lost the cruiserweight title to El Hijo del Fantasma, but he kept his job, which is a good thing. And I got into it with this guy. It wasn't really much. It was just he says that the Drake Maverick storyline of him having to fight for his job was disgusting, and I kind of called him a prick. But to be quite honest, man, we had to save some of the melodrama. It wasn't disgusting. It wasn't even tasteless because no authority figure said that Drake Maverick had to win the tournament in order to save his job. The part of the story that goes into the tournament was that Drake Maverick was done, win, lose, or draw. He was finished, but he figures he can win the cruiserweight title as a way of, maintaining his job. So he thinks that, but William Regal never said it. Triple H never said it. Nobody ever said that he had to earn his job by winning the cruiserweight title. And outside the ring, non-kayfabe, this was a situation that makes a lot of sense from the company perspective because Drake Maverick put that video out and got himself over, so sympathetic with the crowd that people legitimately were like cursing WWE for firing him. And because he put out a real legitimate sad story, and it was moving to people, and it was moving to everyone. So yeah, they used it. Of course they used it. Why wouldn't they? WWE thrives off of using people's real stories. That makes no fucking sense to be upset about it. It just seems like these jackasses who write articles for bullshit websites and people who need clickbait and all that type of stuff, they just find things to get upset about, and they get upset about it's just nonsense, dog. Like, how was it offensive? How was that in any way offensive? But we have to take it to the next step because he didn't win the title, right? It would have been a good catalyst for them to put the title on him. But what they showed is that passion is its own reward. That sometimes if you're really passionate about something and you're willing to take risks, you will get rewarded, even if the reward isn't something that you originally thought it was going to be. Now, he thought he had to win the cruiserweight title in order to save his job. But just having performed the way he did and stepped up and, every week after week, that proved to be enough. And his passion was rewarded with a contract. And I don't understand how you can't take anything but positivity from that. So you have to be trying really, really hard. Or be Leo Rush and just be a miserable fuck who said he didn't want to work and then didn't continue to work. So then got fired to be upset about this. It was not upsetting. It was not disgusting. If anything, it shows that certain people have the internal constitution to take responsibility for themselves and and take advantage of every opportunity that they're given. If you don't take advantage of opportunities that are presented to you, then you're bound to fail. So fuck off, you idiots. This was a good decision. And I'm glad Drake Maverick is still around. He's always going to be the smallest guy on the roster, but he's got a personality. So that's okay with me. And plus, I love people who have passion and people who take advantage of opportunities. I love that. Hopefully, he's a lifer. So El Hijo del Fantasma won the cruiserweight title. He is the guy who I expected to win the title from the beginning. I'm surprised they beat him the one time that they did beat him. I'm not mad. I love the guy. I liked him when he was in Lucha Underground. I liked him when he was in AAA. I watched him AAA. He's one of my favorite dudes. I thought they were gonna have him debut without his mask, but they debuted him with his mask. So I'm guessing they're gonna take his mask later. I know it's a whole thing about Mexican. Somebody on Twitter asked a question about would they put they asked some guy who had been unmasked, and they said, would you, if you were hired to put your mask back on, would you? And he said, no, I respect the culture. And because I guess that's kind of a thinly veiled shot at Phantasma and Rey Mysterio, who both put their masks back on. But they're probably going to, when the original Jorge Bali, the El Hijo del Fantasma, I don't know why they just don't call him Phantasma, but when he originally was signed, he was not wearing a mask. So I guess they kind of thought to put the mask on him, and then they're going to take the mask off later, which is still a good thing. I mean, I don't mind that at all. So he's one of my favorite dudes. He's going to be a great cruiserweight champion. I'm glad that the final of the tournament seemed to draw. They got a bigger audience this week. NXT as a product does not promote the same guys every week. So when people talk about TV ratings, remember they don't have their world champion wrestling every week. They don't have Keith Lee doesn't wrestle every week. Tommaso Ciampa doesn't wrestle every week. Finn Balor doesn't wrestle every week. Keith Lee doesn't wrestle every week. They barely wrestle once a month. You know, these guys are kind of NXT legends, and they kind of just float around and help build other guys. Johnny Gargano is another one. So I really don't understand why people talk about the ratings so much, but it's silly. But I'm glad they got a bigger audience this week. So another thing that happened on the June 3rd episode of NXT is Breezango returned, and Breezango won the #1 contendership for the tag team titles. So Breezango will be wrestling Imperium at some point in the future. I'm tired of Fandango and Tyler Breeze. I'm fucking sick of it. I don't know how long Fandango's been around. It's been like 8 years. It's been at least 8 years. Okay, but they've been a team. They're a good, humorous, comedy-based team. They do good gimmicks. They're funny. But I am fucking sick of them. Okay? I don't know how else to say it. Even the injury breaks are not enough. Like, a couple of years ago, the guy who plays Fandango, I think his name is Johnny something, but he did a quick interview on the Full Sail or the PC YouTube channel where he talked about wanting to be more serious and do something different. This was before he was injured the second time. Like when Breezango came to NXT, this was around that time. So whatever that was, like maybe a year or two ago when he was injured, whatever time he was injured. And I thought maybe that's when he was going to turn heel on Tyler Breeze and he was going to do something different because Fandango is fucking dead in the water. And it's been dead since at least 2014. It's fucking finished, okay? The shit does not work. The names fucking sucks. The dancing gimmick itself has kind of been dead, so he kind of just moved on to just comedy guy. Just generic comedy guy. And I'm kind of done with that too. Even though I will say he is funny as shit when it comes to Southpaw regional wrestling. That shit was great. He does great character stuff, but he can do more than that. He is sort of how Cody was when Cody was doing all the great characters that he was doing. And when he was in his run in WWE, Cody would get over everything that he did. You know, the mustache, the Stardust. He would get over everything he did, but they wouldn't let him do anything else. And I think that Fandango was in that same position where they just kind of like, oh, we like you being the funny guy. Just be the funny guy. And Tyler Breeze is also that guy where there's 100 different ways to do the supermodel character. He's been doing the same character for 6 years without changing it. And it's like, look, we get it. He's baby Dolph Ziggler. At least take him in a different direction from Dolph Ziggler. We get it. There needs to be a change in Tyler Breeze. There has to be a major change in his working style, his presentation. Is just fucking stale. And I thought maybe the move to NXT would help him because he's also one of these NXT legends. But, you know, we got to do something else with him. There needs to be more done with these two guys. And I hope that they lose to Imperium and fucking break up. Okay? That's what I want. I want them to fucking break up. So, the next thing, and before we get into the predictions, is Adam Cole's contract is supposedly coming up soon. And a lot of people are saying that he's considering going to AEW. Only reason they're saying this is because his girlfriend works there. And I guess in their mind, if your girlfriend works somewhere, then you work there too. Or you might as well work there. Or all his friends work there. Which is bizarre because this is not a business where you just hang out with your friends. Like the crazy thing is Joey Ryan, when he was asked why he didn't go to AEW, I'm pretty sure it's because he wasn't asked to go to AEW, but he was asked by a fan why he didn't go to AEW. And he said that when the Clique ruled wrestling, they had a foot in every place, you know, WCW, ECW, and the WWE. And he was saying, like, basically, you know, AEW was started by his friends, and he has friends in WWE, so he's going to take his place in Impact. And it made that I was like, for starters, you're giving yourself too much credit because like you guys are not the fucking Click. You're really not. I mean, the Click drew money. Like you guys haven't done that part. At least some of you guys, most of you guys haven't drawn any money. But for the most part, I see what he was trying to say though, and putting everybody in one place is bad for business. And then you also consider that Marty Scurll is another one of their buddies, and he was supposed to go to AEW, and he decided to go to Ring of Honor. So I think that them having guys everywhere is better for all of them because they get. I mean, because then you can also have guys move around, but you also have a situation where Adam Cole is. If he were to go to AEW, what the fuck would he do? Okay, there's a ton of guys who go to AEW, and there's nothing for them to do. Like, what is Pac doing? You know, what is Pentagon and Phoenix? What are they doing? Like, there's a ton of guys on that roster that really aren't doing anything. Even if they wrestle every week, they're still not really doing anything. Because in order to win the ratings war, which I guess they're obsessed with winning because they kind of have to win because they're in a different situation in NXT. In order to win the ratings war, they have to feature their stars every week, which means there has to be a ton of fucking Jericho. There has to be a ton of fucking Cody. And those guys are in it for themselves. I mean, Cody and Jericho alone eat up like an hour. Okay, because Cody's matches have to be 20 minutes. And Jericho needs at least 10 minutes to even get started with a promo before he even do anything else. So when you talk about two guys who are going into business for themselves, Cody and Jericho don't leave much time for everybody else. But so you have to say, what else are you going to do? And then obviously Kenny Omega is another one. He doesn't cut long promos, but he needs his 15-minute match. So I don't know what you guys are going to do. Adam Cole is perfect where he is. If he were to leave, it'll be a big loss for NXT, but they could just replace him because he hasn't been on TV that often. And NXT has a good track record, and it's actually built for people to leave. So people do leave NXT pretty regularly and go to other places like Raw or SmackDown or whatever. And to that point, there was also some talk of Io Shirai leaving, that maybe she's going to lose, and she's going to be moving to the main roster. And we'll see, because I don't know how that turns out. I guess I might sort of do that match first. Let's see, the NXT Women's Championship match: Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai. I hate triple threat matches. I fucking hate them. And what the triple threat match, in my opinion, is the promotion not having the balls to choose a single competitor and leave the other one off the card or do something else with them. Now, I get the idea that they just didn't have the balls to have Charlotte beat Io Shirai, or to have Rhea Ripley beat Io Shirai in a number one contenders match and just get her off the card. She's in this match probably to take the pin, okay? And that's fucked up. And that's why I don't like triple threat matches. Io Shirai needs to win this match more than anybody else because this is like her 5th title shot, okay? If she doesn't win, she's pretty much burnt, okay, as far as NXT is concerned. And I'm not one of those people that believes that wins and losses matter that much. But you can only be a top-level contender like Bianca Belair. When they had her as a top-level contender for so long that she kept getting beat, they just said, okay, we got to take her off the goddamn brand because how many times could you possibly get beat by the champions? And Io Shirai is in that same position. Now, you could have just had Io win the title against Charlotte and then defended against Rhea Ripley at this show. But then, oh my God, you would have had to have a show without Charlotte, which I don't know how that's possible. How could you possibly run a wrestling show without Charlotte? I don't see how they did it for 50 fucking years. How they had a wrestling show at all without Charlotte. I don't see how they did it. Now they can't seem to do it at all. For fuck's sake. Like, you think Charlotte was Ric Flair. And I think that's what is that what we're doing now? Is she like now completely transformed into Ric Flair, where Ric Flair is the traveling champion and now Charlotte is the traveling champion, where she's on SmackDown? Like, what the fuck is she even doing on SmackDown? Why was she there? Anyway, Rhea Ripley is going to be a big star. She's very young. I like Rhea Ripley. I like Io Shirai. I like Charlotte, but I'm having too much Charlotte on my plate right now. I want Charlotte to get the fuck out of here. So what I want them to do, what I need them to do, is I need them to put the belt on Io Shirai. That's what I need them to do. And for Io Shirai to be the star of the division on NXT. That's what I need them to do. and you could have Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley in another match down the line, and you could bring up some of the other women because Io Shirai, I'm not sure if she's a babyface or a heel. Right, that's another thing I'm going on with Io Shirai is I'm not sure if she's a babyface or a heel. I think she's a heel. I'm pretty sure she's a heel, but her last match was against Charlotte, who was a heel, and so I'm not sure if she's a babyface or a heel. Now, if Io Shirai loses this match, should she go to the main roster? My answer is yes. She needs to go to SmackDown though, because we already got Kairi Sane and Asuka on Raw. And I know that some people are like, oh, that's racist. But you can't have all the black people and all the Asians on the same goddamn roster. You just can't do it. Okay? Like, and Raw has most of the black people. Okay? So, like, almost half the Raw roster is black. Okay? And, you don't want to have, and the rest are, like, Hispanic. But no, that's a couple of white people. But Raw is a very diverse show. But it also has, you need some diversity on SmackDown. And I mean legitimate diversity as far as people, not just people who look different, but people who work differently. And Io Shirai works differently, and she's small. And you already have small in Kairi Sane and Zelina Vega on Raw. You can do different on SmackDown. She could actually add something to the SmackDown brand. And she could be the SmackDown Women's Champion and, give Bayley some fresh opponents and all that type of stuff until they're ready to do the Bayley-Sasha Banks match. Bayley needs new opponents, and you're not going to have her fighting Lacey Evans, and Sonya Deville is a heel. Who else you got, right? Like, literally, who else you got? So, if Io Shirai loses this match, which she shouldn't lose, then move Io Shirai to SmackDown as a babyface and have her fight Bayley and win the title, probably at SummerSlam or something like that. But my pick is going to be Io Shirai, even though I'm fairly sure Charlotte's going to win. Okay, so women's six-woman tag team match. Mia Yim, Shotzi Blackheart, and Tegan Nox versus Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, and Raquel Gonzalez. Okay, individually, this match is nothing. It means nothing. No, there's no benefit or loss in losing this match. If you win nothing. If you lose nothing. Who cares? But I do like Shotzi Blackheart. I do not like that promo that she cut, the little pre-tape promo that she did the other day, or a couple of weeks back when she was talking about, I'm going to run you over in my tank. It's like, nah, hell no. That shit was super cringe. It was, and speaking of cringe, by the way, Mia Yim, oh my goodness. Like, look, I get it that she's half black. I get it. But she does not have to act and turn the stereotype all the way up. She can turn it down. Like, I'm not saying go, well, she's Korean. I was about to say don't go Xia Li on him with the fan and the kung fu kicks. Be like, but you need to turn the black part down. Like, she's coming across actually pretty Hispanic. If we really want to be honest, she comes across real Hispanic with the character. Tegan Nox is absolutely just a plain loaf of white bread. If you take a slice of white bread and put it on a plate, that's a Tegan Nox match. Okay, she needs some tassels, she needs some sprinkles, she needs a personality. She has none of that. I don't know what the fuck is up with Tegan Nox. She's been in NXT forever, and I have no idea where she's going other than this forever feud. I guess Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai is the Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa of the women's division. They just can't get away from each other. They need to do something about Tegan Nox. Maybe they need to move her ass to SmackDown. But she got to do something different. I cannot stand Tegan Nox. She's super fucking boring. Candice LeRae is cringe too. She's really fucking lame. I don't know what's up with the witch look that she's got going on. They're calling her the Poison Pixie. She's not really that good at promos. She's a decent wrestler. She doesn't have much of a personality. And I don't know how, like, I'm going to give her a chance because it's only been a short time since she turned heel. But I don't like her. I love Dakota Kai, though. And I hope Dakota Kai's team wins. And that's who I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick Dakota Kai and Candice LeRae and Raquel Gonzalez. Raquel Gonzalez doesn't have to do anything. She doesn't really have much of a personality, but she's just the heavy for Dakota Kai. So Dakota Kai is going to carry the personality, the promos, the matches, and stuff like that. They're the Shawn and Diesel of the situation where, Raquel doesn't have to do that much. And I guess when you start adding more personality to Raquel, she actually might end up overshadowing Dakota Kai. Because that's kind of what happens when the bigger performer starts to show a little bit more personality. They kind of show off the smaller performer. That's kind of what happened with Sonya Deville and oh shit, Mandy Rose. her name slipped my mind. But yeah, she's kind of. But Raquel is. We'll see. She's pretty green too, so maybe that's why they're not putting her in a high spot. So the next match we're gonna do. Oh, did I pick a winner? Oh yeah, I picked Dakota Kai's team. Okay, so the North American Championship, Keith Lee will defend against Johnny Gargano. Keith Lee, I love the guy, I really do. Keith Lee was one of the hottest, if not the hottest act in NXT, or not in probably in the business. Between December and February. Between December and February, Rhea Ripley and Keith Lee were the two hottest acts in wrestling. Period. Okay, even if you included AEW guys, they were the two hottest acts in wrestling. And then the pandemic happened, or actually not even before the pandemic happened. Soon as Keith Lee won the North American Championship, it was like a wet blanket got thrown on his push. Because, yes, he defended the title a couple of times, but he turned into a really weird dude. Like the way his speech patterns, like I know he talks like an old preacher, and I guess that's just kind of how he talks, but how he presents himself has changed, like the pink shoes, and he doesn't come across like a badass anymore. Like he comes across like a giant fucking teddy bear now, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like the pink shoes, dog. Like I don't like pink shoes, Keith Lee. Bring back the suit, Keith Lee. Bring back, the guy with some edge. The guy who was doing like these great physical dramatic moments, like when he showed up against Brock, like when he knocked Adam Cole into the crowd, when he appeared out of nowhere behind Finn Balor. That's the Keith Lee that I like. That's the Keith Lee that I want. And that's not the Keith Lee I'm going to get in this match. I'm almost certain. The Keith Lee I'm going to get in this match is going to be like Brian Cage and Donovan Dijak, where he's going to be indie big man who wants to do leapfrogs and moonsaults because he can do those things, and I don't want to see that shit. I really don't care about that. I want a big man to work big, okay? And Keith Lee can do that. I don't understand why he's obsessed with proving his athleticism to marks online. I mean, fuck that. But Johnny Gargano, if I was wearing glasses, I would take my glasses off to talk about Johnny Gargano and how much I fucking hate Johnny Gargano. This thigh slapping, running all over the place, 10,000 super kicks, 40-minute match asshole. I am so tired of Johnny Gargano. Like, I really am. I do not like Johnny Gargano. Babyface or heel. I can get into his matches because he can work. But then he does things in the match that throws me off. Like, I think I just said it when he does like the random knee slaps, the no selling. The match is being 40 minutes. It's just I can't do it. I can't do it. I will not. I will not deal with that. I don't like it. It's indie bullshit. It's indie bullshittery. Johnny Gargano is a good worker. He needs to, but somebody has to put their arm around him and tell him, like, bro, you can have a good 12 to 15-minute match. It doesn't need to be 40 minutes. I think Shawn Michaels probably loves this guy. Somebody needs to tell Shawn. So Triple H needs to put his arms around both of them and whisper into their ears, the match don't have to be a half hour. And it doesn't require 38 kickouts with 96 false finishes. It's not necessary. Okay? If this match is 15 minutes, it ought to be pretty good. And if Keith Lee works like a big man and doesn't work like he's Johnny Gargano, then this match should be fucking fire. If this match is just going to be what they do in PWG, I'm probably going to hate this shit. It might be an athletic marvel for the Meltzer and all his crowd, but I fucking hate that shit. Okay, I hate it. I don't like it. But I think Keith Lee is going to win, even though Keith Lee should probably lose. Keith Lee, like I said, this title has been a wet blanket on Keith Lee. It has not done him any favors. It's probably, and Johnny Gargano just turned heel, so they're probably not going to beat him just yet. So if Johnny wins, it's going to be Johnny wins by some type of cheating, which will save Keith Lee from looking like a fool. But theoretically, Keith Lee should probably win this match because Johnny Gargano he's an NXT legend, quote unquote. He doesn't really need to win. But I'm going to go with Keith Lee, but I expect Johnny Gargano to win. So we got Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. I love this match. It's a simple story. Um, a lot of people have complained about Finn Balor. They said that this heel turn and everything has kind of been lame. I think part of it is that he has been moved to NXT and he hasn't been used as often. And I think that's part of why he left and went to NXT is because so he can have a lighter schedule. Um, but he's another one of these quote unquote NXT legends. He only shows up once a month, if that. He does primarily top level matches against guys that they're trying to groom into being a main event guy. Damian Priest is one of those dudes. Um, I'm not disappointed in Finn Balor though. I think that they kind of gave up on his heel turn and didn't really use it because they were in a weird position as far as when he turned heel. And then there was this, I think it was an injury to Johnny Gargano, and he ended up beating Matt Riddle at a show, and that was a great match. But it didn't really show that he was a heel. Then they started with the Imperium feud, and then the pandemic happened. But the Imperium feud was going to turn him back babyface, and essentially he ended up coming right back and being a babyface. So the heel thing didn't work, Even though now he's a heel. Okay. Let me slow down. He's a babyface with an edge. Okay, he's still doing the Prince gimmick, and okay, I like Finn Balor. I'm not going to be too hard on him. So I like Finn Balor. I'm not going to say his heel turn was bad. It was good. They just didn't stick with it because they didn't have any opponents set up for him. He should have won the title. They really should have just had him win the title, and then he could have done something else. But when they didn't want to give him the title, and then they basically just turned him babyface after he didn't win the title because it was all about him feuding with other heels at that point. But this match is going to be dope because Damian Priest is one of my favorite dudes. He has some personality. He kind of goes a little far with the big guy wanting to be extra athletic. He can chill out with that, but he doesn't do it as much as everyone else. Like he doesn't do it as much as Dijak or Brian Cage or Keith Lee, who I'm always going to mention it when it comes to them. They need to stop it. But he kind of does over the top rope stuff. He doesn't need to. I was a big fan of Damian Priest when he was in ROH. I forget what his name was in ROH, but I know he was the ROH TV champion, and then they had him do like this 16-second job to Jeff Cobb because he was leaving, and I was like, oh, that was that was a rough one, dog. But I like Damian Priest. I like the character. I like the characters because his character has a mission. His mission is to live forever, to become immortal. And to do that, you have to make a name for yourself against higher level talents, like Finn Balor. So this match makes sense. Now, whether you put Damian Priest over or not, I don't think so. Because Finn Balor just lost to Cameron Grimes. So you kind of have to have Finn Balor beat Damian Priest. What they really should have done is got Finn Balor disqualified. Is that, Damian Priest jumps in the ring, beats up Finn Balor or Cameron Grimes or whatever, and they throw that match out as disqualification, and then had Damian Priest beat Finn Balor. Then that would have been, him taking the next step to his living forever gimmick. But because Finn Balor just got beat by Cameron Grimes, you're not just going to beat him 2 times in a row. So Finn Balor is going to win. And Damian Priest doesn't need to win, but he hasn't won when it mattered. And that kind of sucks because he didn't win the North American title the 2 times he challenged for it. And now he's being presented as being a bigger star because he's away from the North American title, wrestling an NXT legend. He should win. Theoretically he should win. But he's not going to win. Finn Balor is going to win. So from one NXT legend to another, you got Tommaso Ciampa versus Karrion Kross. And it's a different situation here because I love both of these guys. I have no real petty criticisms of either one of them. Other than I'm not sure how you end this match without making Tommaso Ciampa look like a chump, other than a referee stoppage. You can't have Tommaso Ciampa tap out, and if he gets pinned, then you end the feud. So what you do is maybe you do a disqualification, or you do a referee stoppage due to a choke out or something like that. Like maybe Karrion Kross gets him in a chokehold, and he chokes out Tommaso Ciampa, and the ref calls the match off, and that way Tommaso Ciampa has been protected, so they can have a rematch or something. And Karrion Kross gets the win that he needs because he's still so new. He has to win. So I'm going to go with Karrion Kross by referee stoppage. This ought to be a pretty good match. Both of these guys are pretty intense. Tommaso Ciampa avoids all of the indie bullshit. He only really gets trapped into doing indie fuck shit when he's wrestling Adam Cole or Johnny Gargano. Otherwise, he can have a pretty solid match that doesn't require 88 kickouts and doesn't need to be 46 minutes long. Okay, but I need Karrion Kross to look good in this match because this is going to be a big opportunity for him. So I need him to really show out in this match. But if there's going to be a lot of camera on Scarlett stuff, then maybe everybody's going to be right, and it's going to be more about her than him. but we'll have to see. Okay, the last match, Adam Cole versus the Velveteen Dream for the NXT North American, the NXT Championship. Okay, so it's going to be what's called a backlot brawl. Now, when I first heard backlot brawl, I instantaneously thought Hollywood backlot brawl, WrestleMania 12, Roddy Piper versus Goldust, when they had that crazy match out in a random alley in California. Now, I want to know what alley that was and why were they so far away from the arena? Like, they were so far away. It wasn't like there was the arena alley, like something behind the arena. It was like far as fuck away from the building. So, but I'm pretty sure it was just behind the arena or something like that. But nobody ever specified where that match took place. But when I saw the set for this match, because the match is pre-taped, I saw the set. It's the ring, and then there's going to be cars around the ring. So it's like a mixture of, it's kind of like a play on the John Cena, Eddie Guerrero parking lot match, which was a fucking awesome match. And I remember that match clearly because it was no ring. It was, pinfalls on top of cars, and, he was busting up a bunch of cars. It was a really fun match. I know that there was one in WCW too. It was like Finlay and William Regal. But the Eddie Guerrero, John Cena parking lot match was fucking awesome. And I wanted that. And we still might get some of that in this match where, these guys are just knocking each other off cars and stuff like that. It ought to be badass. I want it to be just like the Eddie Guerrero, John Cena match where you had people in the cars blowing horns. Guys, like, I think Bradshaw was like one of the guys that was rooting guys on, like, woo, yeah. Like, guys in the background. And I know that Dexter Lumis is probably going to be there and to be in Velveteen Dream's corner. And the Undisputed Era is going to be there for Adam Cole. And Velveteen Dream is going to win because the match stipulation is if Dream loses, he can no longer challenge for the NXT Championship while Adam Cole is the champion. And plus, he's been champion for a year. You don't really need to be champion for a year in the age of television. Like, if it was like 1987, it would be nothing for you to be champion for a year. But in 2020, being champion for a year is like being champion for 5 years. It's like you've been champion literally forever. To the point of it's boring. It's time to move the title on. And that's kind of where I'm at with Undisputed Era. I predicted earlier this year that Undisputed Era would go away, that they would, get moved to one of the other brands. And I think it's time for that, but I think it's time really to kind of break them up because Adam Cole's been doing the same thing for 2 years. And after this long run, I'm not sure that there's still enough creativity there for it to continue with him as chasing for a title or him going on to winning another title. I just don't see it. And I don't see how many times they can win the tag team titles. And then they just lost that match too. Breezango pinned Undisputed Era to become the number one contenders. So I think that they're probably just going to get moved to SmackDown or Raw, which ought to be fresh look for them. They need fresh surroundings, fresh opponents, fresh things to do. So I want Velveteen Dream to win. And I know a lot of people are going to talk about, but Velveteen Dream got into some to that situation about these underage kids or whatever. But there hasn't been any movement on that. Nobody has heard anything new about it. Nothing different has changed. So might as well just continue doing what you was doing. It's probably just somebody trolling, and we'll just have to move on, And it's unfortunate that that that's going to stain this, because that's the first thing people are going to think of when he eventually wins the title. Is people are going to say, oh well, wasn't he sexting with children or whatever? And it's like, well, there was no proof that he actually did that stuff, and it's been about a month now, maybe a longer, and nothing has come out of it. So don't punish the guy for something he hasn't done, and it can't be proven that he didn't do, or that he did do it. So go ahead, put the title on Velveteen Dream. It's the right move anyway. He is the star of NXT as far as I'm concerned, because he is the breakout star of NXT. And all these guys who I just call NXT legends, it just means that they've been there for a long time, and they've already been NXT champion. And most of these guys either love being in NXT or they don't want to leave. So Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano have already said they're not leaving. Finn Balor said he wanted to go there because it's more his style. And, but Adam Cole, he needs to get a run. So he probably needs to get the hell out of NXT. But what do you guys think about everything that I've talked about here? Let me know in the comment section. Just hit me with your predictions. I want to see your predictions. Let me know what you think about all of this stuff. And I'll talk to you guys later.